In April 2013, the Lake Macquarie City Council introduced a new fortnightly 240-litre green waste service for all 75,000 households. And this service has been well received by our residents. They've been diverting an average over 1,700 tonnes total of garden waste from landfill per month, with a very low contamination rate of consistently less than 0.5%. Successful introduction of the new service was the result of 14 months of prior planning and project management, which is on top of the pre-planning. This presentation will provide a checklist that highlights the key tasks which need to be dealt with if you're going to be introducing a new service. So I'll be covering the context of Lake Macquarie City Council, the changes that we made, the key tasks that enabled us to get there, which include scope of works, project needs, project management and evaluation. Then I'll have a quick chat about the lessons learnt and where to from here for Lake Macquarie City Council. I'll be looking at behind-the-scenes work rather than the frontline education program, which was another presentation we've done before. So Lake Macquarie City Council. We're about 150 kilometres north of Sydney. We have 70,000, or total 75,000 residential dwellings, so about 5,000 multi-unit dwellings. Our multi-unit dwellings are mainly 3 to 10 units in size, and we also have about 3,500 businesses as well on top of that. We introduced kerbside recycling in 1995, green waste in 2013, and we'll be adding food waste middle of next year, 2016. I'll just skip quickly through these next few slides to save time for the later ones. So this was our single dwellings and non-strata dwellings. So we had about 70,000 single dwellings to service. We added the 240-litre green waste service to them, so that was a lot of bins to roll out. We have also since then added an optional 360-litre recycling service just to keep ourselves busy. With our strata services, after surveying them, we offered a diversity of waste packages with bins of different sizes. We offered smaller 140-litre bins, standard bin share packages and larger bin share packages. This increased the complexity, but was flexible for the diversity of strata configurations. We offered commercial services. We offered green waste kerbside collection for them, and at the same time we also increased the range of bin sizes that they could opt for with recycling and garbage as well. So we have delivered 70,000 bins to the single unit households, and 726 households also asked for a second or third green waste bin because they were generating large volumes that they wished to get rid of. Only 28 households opted not to have a green waste bin, and they gave reasons such as they were on a large plot of land and they just kept their green waste there, or others had contractors that were taking away their green waste. And it's a minuscule proportion of the 75,000 households. And we've also delivered over 2,000 upsized recycling, so going from the 240 to the 360 litre. So in our strata, most of the strata groups stayed with the standard 240 litre packages. Some opted for shared packages. Over 500 opted for 140 litre bin size, the smaller one, and only 2 chose the largest bin sizes so far. Of those 5,400 strata units, 1,400 don't have individual green waste bins because they're sharing. So we made a few changes to our customer service. You can see some forms up there. We had to replace several older application forms for applying for bin services with 3 new ones. And we have had to put on additional staff because we had to process lots of bin requests as the changes came in. We added a new website called My Lake Mac, which our customers can check for collection days, bulk waste collections, dates and other property information. The Green Waste Contractor is integrated into our customer relationship management system, so our service requests are tasked to them and we get feedback. We changed the rates notice. The rates payers can now see exactly what additional bins that they have on top of the basic service. So how do we get there? What's the key learning from our experience? Well, the 4 things that we picked out as important were scoping the work, identifying project needs, setting up effective project management, and planning for review and feedback. We spent significant time scoping our current waste streams and our stakeholders. So those are the list there. The non-rateable and mixed-use developments are still challenging for us, and we've also been looking at our special events, and we have some special events now adding food waste collections. In terms of the scope of works, we had a systematic look at current waste provision from all angles: operational, information capture, customer service, and internal processing of requests. We asked ourselves, do we need to amend our control plans or waste guidelines? And we updated those. We aimed for the most efficient collection routes. We had substantial community consultation. While consulting, we took the opportunity to ask our residents how waste aware they were. And it was convenient for us because Newcastle City Council had recently rolled out their green waste collection, that our community was asking, when are we getting ours? So we identified what our project needs were. You should systematically work through each area that will be impacted by the change. So identify your stakeholders, resources, timeframes and priorities. For example, there are space constraints for multi-unit dwellings. How are you going to deal with that? Are you going to put garbage out one day and green waste the next? What changes needs to happen with waste operations? We heard mentioned before about lead-up times for getting infrastructure, trucks, vehicles, all those sorts of things, so got to allow for that. You have to provide your contractor, if you have one, with a list of addresses that they're going to be collecting from, and how do you get that list out of your system, and how do you put information back into your system if that's changing in some way. And there are privacy rules around data you might have in your customer relationship management system. So you've got to have time to make changes to those if you're going to allow a contractor, as we did, to have access to a certain part of it. And we had an issue with the database having security blocks that meant that external computers couldn't access it. So we ended up making an arrangement to give designated computers that were inside the firewall to our contractors. Customers need to check when their collection was scheduled, so of course we had introduced that My Lake Mac system, and that takes a while to get up and running as well. Customer service. We needed extra staff for customer service during our rollout to take calls, so what we did was train green waste champions in the customer service centre, and we got regular feedback from them in our chat about waste sessions. And we kept updating all the information that they relied upon to disseminate correct information to our customers. For procurement, I won't talk about too much, but make sure that you have somebody doing the negotiation on the contract who knows what your requirements are. In financial matters, you'll need to get approval for changes to council fees and charges, new cost centres, new revenue accounts, and changes to rates notices. Our additional commercial waste services are charged via debtors' accounts, and so we also had to set that up. Communications, media releases, promotions and events. You've got to keep across those. You need to keep your frequently asked questions up to date. Development control plans need to be changed, especially when you're bringing in a third bin, that there's storage space going to be available for it, especially in the smaller multi-unit dwelling properties. And we needed to have special training for development planners so that they knew what requirements were coming in and what they needed to be discussing in the pre-planning meetings. Complex development applications now come to the waste team for review, which did not necessarily happen in the past. And you need high-level support for the new Green Waste Service, as the councillors and top management are on the front line with the residents. And if there's no support, it's not going to work. For project management, we structured the project management team with a project manager and a small support team. We had an internal kick-off meeting with all stakeholders and contractors and had frequent review meetings with relevant stakeholders, internal and external. Having the one project manager was a big job, but it really helped to have that one person across the whole project to enable informed, quick decisions. We needed high flexibility for future adjustments because we are going to be bringing in the food waste service, and so we worked on that premise. So throughout the rollout, we have sought evaluation and feedback. We had an independent evaluation of our education program, and it is important to monitor key indicators so that you can actually show that you've had improvements. So this one, you can see there's this lovely downward trend on our chart there. That's the number of service requests that has fallen away as the new service bedded down. And this is this major drop here was the first couple of months. So they were the busiest. Data. With your new Green Waste Service, don't forget you need all your information to be able to report to the EPA. We get tonnages every month and we have charted that to see where there are seasonal changes. So in this one, you can see there's a summer peak here, all that lawn mowing going on, and a winter lull. And you can also see the change from year to year. We're getting an increase in uptake of the service, the use of the service. Lessons learnt. Do your homework. Know your waste stream statistics. Engage with your internal stakeholders so they don't feel they're being overrun and can plan ahead. Get high-level support. For us, the Mayor championed the whole introduction of the Green Waste Service, and that was very important. Make sure you allow at least 1 year lead time to the new service to ensure that you have time to cover everything. Do not underestimate the effort involved for internal changes, and don't take no for an answer. Where to from here? So what's next for Lake Macquarie City Council? We're continuing the maintenance support of the new Green Waste Service. So we're making some systems more streamlined. For example, we are moving away from manually processed service requests to an application form online that will enable our customers to apply online and us not to have to double handle the request. We are working towards phase 2, which is our introduction of food waste collection for mid-next year. We'll be delivering 75,000 kitchen caddies and caddy liners to our residents. We'll be swapping green waste bin collection from fortnightly to weekly and swapping garbage bin collection from weekly to fortnightly. So, watch this space. So I have covered today some of the key tasks that need to be dealt with to introduce a new waste service, including scoping current waste services and streams, identifying stakeholder needs, forming an effective project management structure, and seeking feedback and evaluation. While a new waste service sounds like it only involves the Waste Department of Council, in fact, it involves stakeholders from across the Council. It's important to identify and involve those stakeholders early to provide for sufficient resourcing and buy-in. With the aid of this checklist that I've outlined today, I hope that your Green Waste Service implementation will be as effective as in Lake Macquarie City Council. Questions?